Today is Monday, September 8th, just before 10:30 a.m. local time here in Norman, and looking at a possible chase day today, the SPC's outlined a level 2 out of 5 slight risk across the southern plains from southwest Kansas into the Oklahoma and Texas Panhandles and northwest Oklahoma. Supercells are expected to develop across this corridor, posing a risk for all hazards, but mainly large to very large hail, 15% hatched area within that slight risk corridor, but a low end threat for damaging winds and maybe an outside chance at a tornado or two exists as well. So all in all, looks like a pretty fun chase day could be in store. Still some things that need to be worked out. So I'm going to make a final decision here in a couple hours, but wanted to take you through what I'm thinking right now. The main thing that I'm worried about right now is this ongoing convection. It's been going on all morning across this corridor from Kansas, northern Kansas, down into the Texas Panhandle in really a fairly solid line of convection. Question is, when is this going to burn off? We are starting to see some signs that this is burning off, at least on the southern flank of this convection, and that's a good sign for storms today. You can see the satellite there. Lots of clear skies starting to come in behind this initial band of storms across northwest Oklahoma and southern Kansas. So that's a pretty good sign here for later on in the event. Models are not really handling this convection all that well this morning, which is lending some uncertainty into the event. As far as the synoptics go, it's a very subtle setup overall. We have a little bit of a shortwave trough here at 500 millibars across Nebraska down into the southern and central high plains. Perhaps the reason why this convection is ongoing this morning, just out ahead of this shortwave. Expecting that this will continue to dive down a little bit into the central Kansas vicinity as we go through the day today, providing a little bit of synoptic support for storms in that slight risk corridor today, but it is very, very subtle. You can see it a little bit better at 700 millibars, pretty clear shortwave there within the flow. Not really a ton going on synoptically, but this shortwave is probably going to be our only large-scale forcing for ascent today. Probably not going to move off super fast to the east or southeast, maybe might be here in the central Kansas vicinity later on in the day, allowing for storm initiation along and ahead of it. Probably going to have to rely on surface features today for a more robust threat. Speaking of the surface, let's take a look at the broad map here. We have a surface low that's located somewhere in the southern Canada vicinity. It's kind of a broad surface cyclone here, maybe multiple centers in there, but overall a surface trough is extending down into the southern high plains, and that could be a feature of note for today, extending all the way into the southern Kansas, southwest Kansas, Texas and Oklahoma Panhandle region. That could be a feature to watch for today that could help us out, and also any differential heating boundaries that develop as a result of this convection this morning. We see we kind of already have one in place here. If I zoom into our surface observations there in southwest Kansas and northwest Oklahoma, you see a little bit of a differential heating boundary there. Temperatures in the 70s off to the west here, with 60s off to the east, 62 at Gage, 62 at Pratt, Kansas, 66 there in Great Bend as well. So a little bit of a differential heating boundary, a little bit of a wind shift also it appears is the case. So looks like a differential heating boundary, some type of outflow boundary there that could be a focus for storm initiation later on in the afternoon. We also see evidence of that surface trough out here across southwest Kansas into Colorado. Winds out of the west here across southeast Colorado, more out of the south to the east. So that trough kind of extends down here into the Texas Panhandle vicinity. Hey everybody, Trey here. The video you're watching right now is a preview of content from our Chaser Academy. If you'd like access to our in-depth training modules, Chase and Explain episodes, 24/7 Q&A, and live office hours, subscribe to the Chaser Academy via the link in the description below. And if you're a new chaser, or you'd just like to preview our content first, we created our free Storm Chasing 101 course just for you. Get instant access in the description below. So a couple different features to watch that could be of note for foci for storm initiation later on in the afternoon. All in all, it's a little bit of a tricky setup. Going to have to just kind of monitor how this plays out over the next couple of hours, see how this convection evolves. A good sign is that it looks like it's dissipating as we speak right now. But again, the models haven't really handled this all that well this morning. Here is the 12Z HER this morning. We'll go forward to 15Z just before when we started this video. Overall, a decent depiction. Most of the convection up there in northern Kansas with some down there into northwest Oklahoma. So not a terrible depiction. Probably one of the better depictions with this setup. Last night, though, the HER was showing robust supercell activity within the slight risk corridor, and today not even showing a drop of rain there. So that is a little bit interesting. We go to some of our other cams here just real quick, and the ARW model, not a very good depiction at all. You see it was more of a solid line down here, just a couple of areas of storms as depicted by the ARW. So not a great depiction, but eventually the story is that all these models really do kind of dissipate the southern flank of this convection through the next few hours, and this does give way to some storm development in that northwest Oklahoma, northeast Texas Panhandle vicinity, at least on this model, and they would be supercellular in this environment. Show you a quick sounding from the HRRR. Even though it doesn't have storms, we can get at least a decent idea of the environment. Dew points, as we saw on our surface map, in the low to mid 60s across this corridor, so decent moisture. Here is the sounding for later this evening. Pretty good looking sounding overall. Strong instability, 2,000 plus joules per kilogram mixed layer CAPE, 82 over 62 at the surface. Overall, a very nice looking profile with steep lapse rates aloft, strong instability aloft for a large hail threat. And that hodograph definitely looks good as well. Nice veering of those winds as you go up in the atmosphere, leading to kind of that meat hook shaped hodograph in the low levels, trailing off to the south with height, leading to more southward moving supercells. And this could be a pretty good structure show this evening with some streamlines vorticity there in the lowest levels of the atmosphere. That could be something to watch for some structure later on. So I think structure and hail going to be a good threat today. Maybe an outside shot at a tornado or two if storms fire and they're surface based. So overall, right now, the HREF, this is our ensemble forecast system for all of our cams, shows kind of a bullseye right there in the northeast Texas Panhandle. It's the highest probabilities for rotating storms, about a 50% plus chance there right in the northeast Texas Panhandle by this evening. So that would be my initial target right now, maybe the Follett, Texas area, sitting right here in Norman right now. It's about a 3.5 hour drive to Follett, which is right there, just north of Canadian, east of Perryton, and that would be a good starting point to go any direction we need from there. So going to monitor the convection ongoing across this corridor for the next hour or two, and then make a final call by about lunchtime or so. All right, it's just after 1 p.m., and I'm really liking our prospects for storm initiation later. You can see all that convection on the southern flank of that broken line from this morning has dissipated completely. We've now started to get clearing where that convection was, pretty stout clearing going on. And you can even see that little bit of a boundary right in there, that little fine line. It's kind of gone away right now, but it was there before. That's kind of our differential heating boundary, and it's looking pretty good right now. This is our latest surface observations, and you can see here that there's a clear differential heating boundary from southwest Kansas down into northwest Oklahoma. You see temperatures in the low to mid 70s out on the east side of that, temperatures warming into the 80s on the west side of that. And moisture looks to be a little bit higher than advertised as well. Dew points in the mid 60s here from southwest Kansas into the Texas Panhandle, 66 at Perryton, Liberal at 66 as well, Dodge City 66. So the moisture is a little bit higher than expected, and that bodes well for us later on in the day. We're also seeing those temperatures warm on the warm side of that boundary. Here is the Dodge City sounding from this morning, the observed sounding, looking pretty good. Lots of instability already, elevated above the low-level stable layer. Nice looking hodograph there. That should only increase with time. The convective temperature was 86 degrees, so we should get pretty close to that later on in the day. We can use that one in these subtle setups when there's not a lot of synoptic forcing for ascent. We're already almost there. Liberal at 83, 81 at Perryton. So we are close to that convective temperature. So I suspect we're going to see storm initiation later on in the event. So right now, I think a chase is on. I'm going to hit the road here in a few minutes, head off to the northwest, going to target somewhere in that Follett, Texas area, maybe up toward Beaver, Oklahoma, maybe down toward Canadian, Texas, just somewhere up in that vicinity of the northeast Texas Panhandle, right along that differential heating boundary. Going to try to stick to that boundary and watch for signs of development. So that's the plan for now. Going to get loaded up and hit the road. All right, it's 4:18 p.m. We just made it to Woodward, Oklahoma, just filled up with gas, and we're going to sit here for a few minutes and monitor things and reassess. Things are going according to plan. There's a nice cumulus field outside. Let me show you real quick. Nice looking cumulus field outside. Nothing really of note as far as vertical development goes, but we do have some blips off to our north and west that are going up that we may need to watch here over the next couple of hours. We are sitting here at the blue bullseye here in Woodward, and storms have tried to start going up to our north there near Ashland, Kansas, and then some over here in the far northwest Texas Panhandle. These ones out here are in the much drier air to the west, but you can see where the outflow boundary we talked about earlier was, the differential heating boundary. Temperatures in the 90s out here to the west with more southwesterly winds, more southerly flow off to the east here in western Oklahoma into southern Kansas, with temperatures a little bit cooler in the low to mid 80s. So definitely a differential heating boundary right in here, basically from Dodge City southwestward through the northeastern Panhandle. So if any storms can fire on that and latch onto that boundary, that may be something to watch. The SPC has outlined recently a mesoscale discussion, the blue outline here. They mentioned that storm coverage and initiation is uncertain, but that any storms that can anchor to the boundary will have that all hazards severe threat. So we're going to sit here in Woodward for a little bit longer and monitor these areas. SPC did mention a little bit of an area in the Oklahoma Panhandle and northeastern Texas Panhandle that could be of slightly higher concern for initiation later on. And here in Woodward, we have roads that go in multiple directions. We can go north into Kansas. We can go west into the northeast Texas Panhandle. So we're going to sit here for a little while, monitor things, and see which area starts to go first. As you can see on the visible satellite imagery here over the last hour or so, we're kind of watching two different areas. This one up here in southern Kansas near the Ashland area, that's where that storm is going up as we speak, looking fairly robust, but cumulus have gotten more numerous down here as well in the Oklahoma Panhandle and the northeastern Texas Panhandle. You see overall we're just seeing a little bit more agitation to the cumulus, a little bit more vertical development. So either of those areas are the ones we're watching closely for now, but definitely keeping everything in play. Being here in Woodward, we can easily shoot north or west into either of these areas should one of these be the one that takes off. Okay, 4:40 p.m. now, and it looks like this one to our north near the Ashland, Kansas area is starting to really take off. It's just gone above 50,000 feet on the Dodge City radar as far as echo tops go. Dodge City is closer. If you go to Vance, it was already at 50,000 far before the Dodge City radar showed 50,000 feet. So these ones look like they might be the ones, especially that one near Ashland. If we go to our satellite view, you can see that it is kind of right on the boundary. That fine line right there of clouds, that's our boundary, and you see that storm right there, it's right on it. So I wonder if that's going to be the one, and I think that's the one we might check out. These ones here firing north of Perryton, those are also catching our eye as well, but they're firing in the drier, hotter air back to the west, and the temperature dew point spreads are pretty high out there, 89 over 64 at Perryton, and the winds are out of the southwest, a little bit more veered back there. So we're keeping an eye on those. The good news today is that storms are going to be moving very slowly off to the south, so we can pretty much catch the storms to the west if they decide to go. But I think we are going to try this one to the north. It is right on the boundary right now. You can actually see it from here. Again, we're in Woodward. Looking out to the west, that is the anvil of our storm right there. It's already looking pretty robust. So all we have to do is shoot north a little ways toward the Kansas border, try to get ahead of this thing, and I think that's what we're going to do. So we're going to head north. We'll check back in just a few minutes. 4:44 p.m. now. Just after we did our last update, the storm went severe, and the top spiked above 55,000 feet from the Vance Air Force Base radar in Oklahoma. So this storm definitely means business. We are headed north toward Ashland to intercept this storm. It's got a nice, robust hail core on it now, a nice supercell shape. This looks like our initial target storm. We should have a view here within the hour. 4:48 p.m. we are en route to this Ashland storm, and it's right in front of us. Big anvil you see there with a pretty robust updraft. It's a little hard to see with the haze and some of the clouds in front of it, but this updraft looks very crisp. The anvil is very well defined right now, and it's absolutely blowing up on satellite. So this looks to be the storm for the moment, and we should get a visual here. We're about 25 to 30 minutes from Buffalo, Oklahoma, and the storm is heading right for Buffalo. So we should get a view quickly here, and we'll revisit once we do. 5:04 p.m. and the storm is getting a really nice shape on radar. It's got a nice hook echo on it. It's starting to get some outbounds as well. It was just inbounds, those green pixels on the velocity image on the right, starting to get a little bit of some of those outbounds there, those red pixels. So might starting to be rotating a little harder in the low levels, but we are coming up. We're the blue bullseye there down to its south. We are coming up to Buffalo. We're going to go west on Highway 64 out of Buffalo, and then north on a county road toward the Kansas border, and just kind of set up there and let it come to us. It should be turning to the south here, and we should be in position here shortly. 5:08 p.m. and there's our storm right in front of us. We're just about to come into Buffalo, Oklahoma. We're going to turn west and then north right toward this thing. It's got a really nice look on radar. Very nice looking crisp updraft there you see in the frame. So we're pretty excited about this storm. Looks like it is getting intensifying as we speak. 5:17 p.m. We've turned on our north road now, heading straight into the storm. You can see a little bit of a lowering in the base there, just over the horizon. It's got some scud with it. It looks pretty healthy right now. It's a little bit hazy. The sun is on it at a certain angle to where it makes it a little bit difficult for us to see, but we should be approaching this thing very quickly. It's coming south right at us, so we should get a much better view here within a few minutes. But this is our north road. We're just going to keep going until we get a better visual, and then we'll stop and reassess. All right, it's 5:24 p.m. and here is our storm. Beautiful, large base with a nice wall cloud. You can see it pulling in inflow right there. The solid rotation underneath it. It just got tornado warned. Let me show you the radar here. Here is the current radar. Our icon is that blue dot right there, and you see just a classic supercell shape. Nice hook echo. Really large hail in the core. 2.75 inch hail was reported with this storm. Not a ton of low-level rotation, just broad at this point, at least on radar. But visually, this storm looks really good, and it's coming right at us. So we're going to monitor for the next few minutes to see if it drops something. We can just easily shoot back south on this road that was our north road, and just kind of stair-step with it from here. 5:30 p.m. now, and the storm still looks good. Might have just tried to produce a tornado a few minutes ago. Didn't see one from our vantage point. We've got a great view overlooking this valley. Still has a nice wall cloud on it. Strong inflow at our back. I'm kind of hunkering down behind the car so the wind doesn't drown out my voice, but very strong inflow. This storm is a beast right now, moving south pretty quickly towards us, and so in a few minutes we're going to have to move. The forward flank is coming sort of right at us at this point, so we may have to move here in a second, but we've got a great view. We're going to hang in here as long as we can. 5:36 p.m. and we're starting to get some really nice structure on this supercell, starting to get some striations aloft. You can see it rotating real hard. Still has that nice wall cloud down in the on the base there, as you see, and pulling in inflow, really strong inflow still at our back. Tornado warning has been extended into Oklahoma now. We're just south of the Kansas border, north of Dobie Springs. Just a beautiful supercell. This is kind of what the goal of the day was, to get some structure, maybe eke out a tornado or two. This storm is still latched to the boundary, so it's got a chance. It is moving to the south, so we're going to have to reposition at some point, but we've got a great view here still. And we're going to hang in here as long as we can. All right, 5:42 p.m. and still has some nice structure on it, still tornado warned. The hail is closing in though, so we are going to jog south a little bit, get out of the way of the precip core and reset up, see if this thing can organize. Not really any tight rotation at this point. It's become a little bit shelfy. You see, it's not quite as blocky of a wall cloud in there. A little bit more shelfy. It's pushing outward instead of rotating or going into the storm. So perhaps just dealing with some outflow right now. We're gonna go south and see if it can work itself out. All right, 5:48 p.m. and we are just gonna head back to Highway 64. It's the main highway, about 3 miles from where we are right now. We're trying some of these west roads. They're unfortunately dirt, and they're a little bit on the soft side. They must have gotten some rain up here recently. So in my car, can't really do that. Always have to try to think about the most safe road options you can, especially as far as getting stuck in front of a storm like this that's chucking out baseball plus sized hail with a tornado possible. So we're just going to get back to the main highway 64, which is fully paved, and head west a little bit, get back in front of the hook echo of this storm, try to see if it reorganizes itself a little bit. 5:50 p.m. Possible tornado here to the north of Dobie Springs. The radar has a pretty strong couplet on it. Very difficult to tell from our position. There aren't really any roads that can get us back in there. The wall cloud's back over there. It looks a little bit more organized than it did, but tough to tell. It has very strong rotation on radar. Here is the current radar reflectivity and velocity. You see the strong couplet there right above my fingertip. Oops. And so maybe a tornado in progress. Very difficult to tell right now. We're going to get back to 64 in just a minute. Try to get in front of it and see what we can see. 5:53 p.m. now, and we have made it back to 64. We're going to head west as fast as we can here safely. It doesn't look like that feature we just saw was tornadic. It's very difficult to tell. We were in a little bit of a low spot, but we should get a view here. I'm going to pan the camera off to the right, see what we can see. And yeah, not really seeing much right now. There's a few different possible areas of rotation. That one there, and then the one back here to the west has been the main wall cloud for quite some time. But that has been kind of just pulling in inflow after it reorganized itself. Looking a little bit disorganized right now. You see how ragged the area of interest looks. Doesn't really look all that put together right now. So maybe going through a cycle, getting quite a few CG lightning bolts out ahead of this storm right over the road here, which is a good sign. That means the storm is quite robust. Still moving south. We're going to get ahead of the couplet here, get to the close to the next south highway, which is going to be the highway toward Laverne, which is 283. Not too far ahead of us, but we just want to make sure we have a south option at all times, since this storm has some pretty severe hazards associated with it. 5:56 p.m. we have a funnel cloud right in front of us here on this storm. It's been pretty persistent. It's been there for about 2 minutes. We just got a spot. We are just northeast of Laverne right now. This correlates right with the couplet that we were seeing on radar. So this is definitely, if anything, it's going to do it. It's going to do it right there. Nice persistent funnel cloud with this storm. Alright, 6:06 p.m. here, just north of Laverne, Oklahoma. Nice little tornado intercept. It was reported as a tornado. Now we got some hail falling. We waited maybe a little bit too long, but there's some pretty large hail in this storm. So we are going to haul butt to 283 south toward Laverne and just head south on that, get ahead of the actual area of interest here, which is just off to our northwest. Pretty big hail we can see falling on the road. Not sure if you'll be able to see it in the camera here, but there are some big stones. Had one hit the windshield just a little bit ago that was pretty big. Thankfully it didn't crack, but may have waited just a hair too long, but that's okay. We are almost out of it, almost to 283, and then we'll head south right back in front of this storm. All right, 6:14 p.m. now. We've repositioned to a spot just north of Laverne, Oklahoma, right in front of this storm once again. Doesn't look as intense as it just did a few minutes ago when it was producing the tornado. Has kind of that dog-leggy appearance with the hook echo. Still looks pretty mean out there though. The structure looks pretty good. It's got some hail in there, pretty large hail at that. Still looks like it has some inflow. You see the inflow tail there just over the horizon. Starting to get some real good structure though, but tornado threat is low for the moment. They just did extend the tornado warning to include Laverne. So we're just going to keep stair-stepping with it. If it continues to look like this kind of dog-leg appearance, then we may just find some cover in one of these towns like Laverne and take the hail core, but still has potential to produce a tornado, so we're going to stick with it for the time being. 6:18 p.m. The structure is getting really good on this storm. Lots of striations aloft. Just a beast of a storm. Looks a little bit high base now, and that inflow tail I mentioned from earlier looks actually to be more of a shelf cloud developing. Looks like outflow. You can see it kind of pushing outward instead of flowing into the storm. But nonetheless, this is a beast of a storm. All of the large hails off here to the right. You can see that white glow in there, heading right toward Laverne. So that's going to include some baseball and tennis ball sized hail. So we're going to give this another couple minutes and then reposition to stay out of the hail. But beautiful structure on this storm. 6:25 p.m. and we are driving through Laverne, Oklahoma right now. Laverne looks like it's going to get smacked by large hail. We are going to continue south. This structure looks like it's getting really good on this storm, so we want to give ourselves another opportunity to get some good structure and then try to avoid the hail as best we can. But unfortunately, it looks like Laverne is going to take a hit from some large hail. We're going to get out ahead of it. We're going south on 283, then we're going to connect with 412 and go west to try to get some wide shots of the structure of this storm. 6:36 p.m. We're just east of Slapout, Oklahoma, trying to find a spot to get some of this structure. It is a high precipitation beast right now. Tornado potential has definitely come down a little bit. Looks like it's pretty much done in that regard, but this structure is really good. We are watching some storms back in southern Kansas. They are behind the outflow boundary, but they are showing some nice supercell structure on radar. So we're going to assess here, see if it's too cool for surface-based storms behind the outflow boundary. I'll give you a little bit of a look here in a second. But while we do that, we're going to take a look at this structure, which is pretty epic right now. All right, 6:38 p.m. now, and here's what I was talking about a little earlier. This is our storm that we were tracking. We're at the blue bullseye right there, still heading right for us. Still kind of a supercell, but definitely outflow dominant, but some nice structure on it. But we're watching these two storms back to its north in southern Kansas, one by Mineola and one over here to the west, to the east, which is east of Coldwater. These are behind the main outflow boundary. You see the fine line there surging off to the west. It doesn't seem like it's too cool behind the boundary. Dodge City, which is just behind the main outflow boundary up here, just north of those storms, is at 79 degrees as a surface temperature. That doesn't seem too cool. Again, our convective temperature was 86 degrees today, so we're not too far off of that, but we may just be right on that threshold of whether or not these storms are going to be surface-based. So we're going to monitor those storms for now. We're going to get some structure shots of this storm that's coming toward us, and then kind of reposition out of its way and decide what we want to do. Stick with this one and get structure, or try to go after these that are coming out of Kansas if there is a better tornado risk with those. 6:42 p.m. and not really loving those storms to the north in Kansas. Here's the Kansas mesonet, and that observation right there is at Lake City, which is very near that Coldwater storm. It's at 69 degrees. That is far too cool to support surface-based convection. These storms, the storm that we were tracking earlier that has the structure on it right now, the surface temperatures here are in the upper 70s to low 80s at least. So these storms in Kansas, questioning whether or not they're going to be surface-based, especially the farther that outflow boundary pushes off to the west. I think there's just going to be increasingly cold air behind it. They kind of have that anemic look on radar too. They just don't really look all that robust. You compare it to the storm that we're on right now, really robust supercell. Compared to these, they look just a little bit more anemic. So not really sold on those. We're going to stick with this southern storm near Laverne for now. We are watching the one near Perryton also. Can just shoot south and west if we need to catch that one, but right now not doing a whole lot. The Laverne storm, still our storm of the day, still has great structure on it, but that is the plan for now. 6:47 p.m. and this storm is kind of trying to devolve into a supercell again. You can see it's got that nice supercell shape. It's got a hook echo once again. Doesn't really look all that elongated, just blobby type of convection. It actually is a legit supercell. Again, at least the presentation's better on radar. Starting to get maybe a little bit more rotation there as well. The outbounds are increasing near these strong inbounds. So here's our current view of this storm. Again, we are just east of Slapout, Oklahoma. Inflow into this storm is very strong. So it is still a beast of a storm, has some great structure on it, as you can see, but it may be trying to do it again. We see maybe a little bit of a lowering there over that bush that we'll have to keep an eye on. Rotation may be increasing with this storm once again, so may have spoken too soon. Tornado time might not be fully over with this storm. We're going to follow it, and we'll intercept as need be. 6:51 p.m. Beast of a storm heading towards us. Still has great structure on it. High precipitation monster at this point. Has some lowerings back in there. Nothing really tight as far as rotation goes at this time, but probably a couple more minutes here, then we're going to have to reposition. Not a lot of roads down to our south off of Stinger 12, so we may have to try some dirt roads until we get into the Texas Panhandle, where we start to connect with some farm-to-market roads that are paved. So just an awesome storm, though, so far. Great structure. Just an absolute beast that continues to 6:57 p.m. and storm is closing in on us. Not really any tight area of rotation at this point. Maybe a little too much rear flank downdraft. The wind is now switched. It's coming from the north now, so we're getting rear flank downdraft or outflow instead of that strong inflow we were feeling earlier. So this storm may be just ever so slightly outflow dominant, maybe just a little bit too much RFD at this point. Nothing real tight right now. We're in a decent spot. We're going to have to move here in just a second, but they did extend the tornado warning to the south, so it still could wrap up at any time, but right now it seems like it's just a little bit imbalanced. All right, 7 p.m. on the dot now, and we are going to reposition at this point. Nothing really going on with this storm in front of us. Again, the storm that's near Perryton, Texas is tornado warned as well. What we're going to do is we're going to go west toward a county road that goes south into Texas and connects with a farm to market road that is paved. That'll take us south. We can reposition on this storm if we need to in Follett, Texas. We can go east out of Follett, or we can continue going south if this storm decides to poop the bed. Then we can just go ahead and intercept that southwest storm near Perryton. So this is going to keep both options open for us. Right now, not loving this storm really at the moment. It just looks a little bit imbalanced, but we're going to reposition, check it again in a few minutes, and if we need to divert, we will. 7:14 p.m. north of Follett, Texas, still on the Oklahoma side. Still in the process of repositioning, but had to get some shots of this structure. Beautiful structure from the storm that went over Laverne and Slap Out. Epic structure. Looks like now the tornado risk from this storm has decreased significantly. You can see the outflow pushing out on the leading edge of this storm. So likely this thing is done with tornado production. We're still going to head south, follow the original plan, get to near Follett, and either go west toward the Perryton storm or back east toward this storm, try to get some structure shots. Absolutely stunning storm. Could not pass up the opportunity to get some of this structure. This is absolutely incredible. .38 p.m. here, still east of Follett, and we are probably going to stick with this storm. It's just got some epic structure on it right now, some awesome lightning, so we're going to stick with it. The one to the west has lost its tornado warning. It's looked a little bit weird on radar for a while. Just kind of blobby. Might be starting to get a little bit of a shape there, but we're just going to continue south with this storm. We're going to go back to Follett and south toward the Higgins area, and just try to stay ahead of this as long as we can until it kind of peters out. All right, 7:54 p.m. We're still heading south toward the Higgins area. The storm we were on that went through Laverne earlier has really lost its structure. That last stop we made was really its last gasp as far as really good structure goes. Definitely has kind of clustered or lined out now. Does not look as robust as it did earlier. The storm off to our west does have some pretty strong rotation on it. It is tornado warned once again. So we're just going to head south. We may deviate off to the southeast, try to get to Canadian and maybe Miami, Texas. Try to get in front of that one, but as you can see, we're losing daylight pretty fast, so the motivation to chase in that area, very difficult terrain out there near the Canadian area with all those hills, might be very difficult after dark. But there is some pretty strong rotation. It is far from the radar, so we might give this one a shot. But the storm we were on is definitely taking a turn for the worse, so we're going to leave that one. We're just going to continue to mosey south and kind of see what happens. All right, it's 8:03 p.m. now, and we are basically west-northwest of Higgins, Texas. Just trying to decide what to do. Our original storm is up here, east of Follett right now. It is, again, it fell apart. The structure really took a tank dive there. It's not quite as robust as it was. So that is really kind of out of the picture right now. We're just trying to see if there's any way we can get to this storm. The appendage, the hook echoes back in here, and the tough part is we can't really cut across here. There's the kind of a canyon in the way, and this storm is moving into an area where there's a lot of hills and canyons and just really not any roads So we would have to go all the way down to Canadian, all the way down to Miami, and then back up, which is quite a ways out of the way. Plus, we are losing daylight here. As you can see, it is after sunset now. Would be very tough chasing in this part of the Texas Panhandle. So I think what we're going to do is we might just call it a night. If we had unlimited time and resources or we were on a tour, we might take the chance here with this storm. But it just doesn't seem super feasible at this point. We'd have to go all the way out of the way into tough terrain at night to get to it. So I think we're going to wrap this up. We're going to monitor it maybe for a couple more scans and see if it really does anything that lures us out there. But for now, I think we're going to call it a night, and we'll be back to the debrief in just a bit. All right, we've decided to shut things down for the night. It's just not feasible to get all the way out in front of that storm at night in tough terrain. We're going to bypass that storm, and it very well might produce a tornado, but it's been a successful day. Can't complain at all. Saw a really nicely structured storm with a tornado in September in Oklahoma. So not often you can say that. Very happy with how we executed the day today. We were proactive and made all the right decisions to get in the right spots, and our timing was good as well. Got into Woodward right as those storms fired up and got on those storms quickly, and the rest was history. So overall, very happy with the chase. We are going to hit the road, try to get in front of this storm that we were on so we can make it safely back home to Oklahoma City. That's all for now. Be sure to check out those links in the description below, and then watch one of the videos that's about to pop up on your screen.